What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of the Sit Down. As always, if you enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button and let me know what you think of tonight's discussion in the comment section below. If you're new around here, you just haven't done it yet, or living under a rock and seeing this video for the first time, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button below now so you never miss another Sit Down video. Also, if you enjoy cigars, check out our signature Sit Down cigar available now from Pravada Cigar Club. The link to buy is in the description of this video. What's up, everybody, and welcome in. It is Monday night, and we had an interesting video drop today, and I want to talk a little bit about a very shocking revelation made by one-time Bonanno mobster Dominick Cicale. Can we believe this story? Well, I think we could. I think we couldn't, but we're going to talk about it. What exactly did Dominick say? And I want to talk about some of the individuals that Dominick talked about, because it's clear that he has a major issue with one of them. And I wonder if this just harkens back to the days of Dom's just upset at the guy. And look, the truth is, I think it's a little crazy what he said, but I'm also not going to judge him either. Obviously, he was in the streets, and I'm sure he hears one or two things about himself from time to time. That said, it really goes against everything we know about the Mafia in 2024, but we'll talk about it all. He essentially mentions two different crime families, the Bonanno Crime Family and the Genovese Crime Family, including issuing stern warnings that he's ready for them whenever they need to come. He also talks about them being drug addicts. So I'll talk about that here in just a second. We've been putting out content fast and furious here on the channel, just really about saturating the market with what I'm doing. And I hope all of you are enjoying it. Check out my latest video on the Cafe Giannini crew out of Queens, one of the most dangerous farm teams in mob history. Go check that out now. I also did a very interesting discussion last night with Howie Santos, former Gambino associate. We talked about all sorts of things. So yeah, fast and furious with the content. So that's always great. Thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoy what we're doing, please make sure you hit that like button. Tell anybody you think that might like it. Make sure you tell them to check out the video. We really appreciate it. Make sure you tell them to check out the channel. And yeah, if you'd like to support our channel further, hit that super chat icon. If you're watching currently on YouTube, welcome in. The super chat icon is the little $ in the chat box. It's always appreciated. So let's get into this story. Dominick Cicale dropped a video today where he essentially says that there is an open contract and a new contract on his life, and that the Mafia are looking to kill him, essentially. Now, he did not get into where he heard this. He did not get into what exactly he's heard. He really just, and remember, he hasn't posted a video in over 4 weeks, Dominick Cicale. He comes back fast and furious, drops this kind of breaking bombshell revelation. Now, what this has to do, and a lot of the vitriol in this video was ushered towards a person called Michael Zanfardino, aka Hippie. Now, Hippie is a guy that I talked about in a video that I did a couple of weeks ago on the Tanglewood Boys. Hippie had a beef at one point with a kid, Darren Mazzarella. He caught Mazzarella in Loretto Park and shot him like 10 times. He also shot another individual as well. So Hippie is a guy that has no problem doing what he has to do. Hippie ultimately in the early 2000s was hit with multiple charges, including racketeering, interference with commerce by threat or felony with a violence, essentially extortion. And he did a long prison sentence. He was in prison for over a decade. Hippie got out about 6-7 years ago. And up until recently, he was just a made guy in the Genovese family. Recently, it's been reported that he's been upped to the capo of the old 116th Street crew, which is quite unbelievable. The 116th Street crew is arguably the strongest mob crew in the history of the five families. The 116th Street crew goes all the way back to the kind of the start of the Mafia in New York City. At one point, guys like Trigger Mike Coppola ran it, Ciro Terranova, even Giuseppe Morello way back at the beginning of the century in the 1900s. all the way to present day. I mean, you look at some of the captains over the years in the 116th Street crew, Mike Coppola, Tony Salerno, Benny DeSquint Lombardo, Fabi Serpico, Ernie Muscarella, Barney Bellomo was a captain of this crew at one point, Sammy Black Santora. I mean, this crew is very strong and arguably is one of the strongest crews ever. For a long period of time, Ernie Muscarella was leading the 116th Street crew. And then Uncle Patty Falchetti took over. Recently, Falchetti was up to the number 3 spot, allegedly. Consigliere, the acting capo of this crew, is said to be Hippie Zanfardino. So we have to do a little history lesson. Why is Hippie upset at Dominic, and why is Dominic upset at Hippie? Well, from what I understand and from what I know about the history of this little beef, back in the 90s, Dominic and Hippie were friends. They were both from the Bronx. They get pinched and, they both, get charges. And Hippie put it in the streets that Cicale was a rat, which bothered Dominic. He made a comment that Hippie's always high or on some sort of drugs. He also mentioned that John Spirito is always on drugs. He issued kind of a warning to him. Now, the thing that Hippie, we need to understand here, Hippie has always been very tied into the Barney Bellomo group, right? If we go back to the Mazzarella attempted hit that Hippie pulled off in the 90s, Hippie ultimately got out of that beef with the Lucchese family because Mazzarella was on record with them because of Barney Bellomo. Bellomo stepped up and, came to bat for Hippie and essentially saved him in this. Now, also associated with Barney and Hippie and some of the younger guys is Sally Larka Jr. Now, Sally Larka is also from the Bronx, Harlem. His father was a huge drug dealer in the 70s, 80s, sold a lot of H. He was always tied in with the Bellomo group. All these guys are either from Harlem or the Bronx, uptown and, at Pleasant Avenue, East Harlem, and then into the Bronx. And they're all kind of tied in. And why they would want to whack Dominic, I guess it has to do with the fact that he's a rat. But Dominic also issued the warning that they have their own issues to deal with. And, we've heard these stories popping up about people like Bellomo, right? That the Joey Merlino story, supposedly that he has an issue with Joey doing the podcast, which I've said before, I don't believe. I don't think he cares. We have to realize he has his own issues. And Dominic essentially said, you have your own issues here. And Dominic has said for a while now that he knows for a fact that informants are working on union job sites or working amongst mob guys. And, he kind of just said, hey, I'm here if you want me. Do I believe this? I guess it's possible. The truth is we know there's a no-kill order in the mob right now. The last gangland slaying by a mobster committed by another mobster was Michael Meldish. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, you look at, in some families, the Colombo crime family has not had a mobster killed by another mobster since Bill Cotolo, which was in, the 2000s, early 2000s. What was it, 99 even, I think? You look at the Bonanno crime family. That was Lil Anthony Secafico way back, I think, the late 2000s. And listen, for anyone that says, well, what about Frank Cali? Frank Cali was not killed by another mobster. Frank Cali was killed by a deranged citizen who thought he was in the deep state. But this doesn't happen much, right? In fact, it doesn't happen at all. And if this was the precedent set that the mafia, and also remember, we have to look at in history, when has an informant ever been whacked by the mob as far as active or recent informant? What was it? I mean, we go back, it's been a while. Willie Boy Johnson, I guess, that was a long time ago. It's been a long time since that's happened. This hasn't happened in 30, 40 years. And look at how many they would have to get rid of. There are a lot of informants, guys, and there are a lot of informants that are not on YouTube. Now, I get Dominic can cause an issue. Okay, Dominic is bombastic. He's boisterous. But remember, Dominic has had his fair share of beefs on here, just like everybody. It's a very interesting story. Do I buy it? It wouldn't surprise me. But again, listen, I've been threatened by people in here. So it's like, you get this from a lot of people. It could just be secondhand or third hand. I don't think that people like Hippie are going to look to worry about something like this because in the end, they'd have to worry about a lot of individuals that have cooperated over the years, if that's the case. And Dominic did also issue a kind of a stern talking to which is crazy, to his former mentor, Ernie Muscarella, saying that Ernie needs to get his people in check when referring to Zanfardino. And if you remember, Ernie Muscarella, according to Dominic Cicale, was his mentor when he was a young kid. I'm talking teenager. And he talked to me about that. Dominic's an interesting guy. Obviously him and I have had a history. We worked together at one point. I've interviewed him. We haven't seen him for a while. I know he's been involved in some legal issues with guys like Stax. And I know Stax was all happy recently because he claims he beat Dom Cicale in the lawsuit when, according to Dom, the lawsuit was dropped because they knew Stax had no money and it wasn't worth fighting, which I don't know if they're wrong on that. But this is interesting. Listen, it's a claim made by a mob content creator, an informant, and a guy who has had his fair share of interesting moments on here. Who am I to say it's not true? I don't know if it is or isn't. I'd like to know who told him this. Did the FBI tell him this? Did he just hear this third or fourth wind? It's a bit flimsy, I think. But I'm not going to say let's wait to see what happens next. I mean, let's remember, we're also not dealing with, Zanfardino is a wild guy, but I mean, all the people we kind of talked about here are not, like I said, there's no one whacking people in the mob anymore, right? So Dominic is, it's definitely got an interesting story here. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to hear much of this. Again, Dominic is a guy that I've noticed. He's the one guy on here that constantly is teasing stories, right? He'll tell us the story. Like he's been telling us that he's going to tell us who the boss of the Genovese family is for years. And he just won't say it. I don't know what the big secret is. I wish Dom would just sometimes come out and tell us because, I feel like, maybe we'll learn something. But then again, I don't know that. And I mean no disrespect to Dom. I don't know how much Dom actually knows, truthfully, about who the current leadership is. And I reached out to Dominic for comment on this, see if he'd be willing to shed a little bit more light. He didn't respond. If he's watching, I'll drop the link. He's welcome to jump on. I'd love to hear his side of this. What's exactly is going on here, but we'll kind of go from there. As far as though the FBI, they're going to issue, if there's a credible reason to believe someone is going to face some sort of, death threat, they would notify the person. So it's a bit of a, I'd love to know more about it, from being honest. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I didn't necessarily go through a shout out tonight or anything, but I hope everybody's well. I want to get to some of your comments. What do you think about this? Do you think this is reason for concern if you're Dominic Cicale? Rami, what's going on, Rami? Shout out to you. Inspector, what's happening? Oh, Brooklyn, good to see you, babe. I hope you're well. I hope you had a nice dinner tonight. Brooklyn was telling me she's was having a nice dinner tonight. So shout out to Brooklyn, a great woman. Big man, what's up? What's happening? Mike R, how are you? How are you? Everett Sanchez, what's up? If I miss you, I'll get you on the back end. Kevin, what's going on? One thing Dominic also did, and I mentioned this, he made multiple contentions that several people in this family are drug addicts or doing drugs. Most notably, Zanfardino. He mentioned John Spirito was a drug addict at one point or doing drugs. Just I think a little below the belt, if we're being honest. No offense, Dominic. I mean, just because they were doing some coke back in the 80s doesn't mean they are now. But yeah, like I said, if Dominic's here, I would love for him to come on and chat a little bit more about this. Obviously, he's not, it's not mandatory, but I would like to hear a little bit more from the horse's mouth, if you will. Basil says Dominic Cicale is full of it. Well, listen, Basil, as we learned time and time again on here, nobody believes anything on here. So I kind of side sometimes with people like Dominic, because it is so hard to do this content. No one believes anything on here, right? Like, I could tell you shit that I do on a regular basis and who I talk to on here, you wouldn't believe it. Like, no one believes anything on here, right? So it's like, do I believe this? I don't know. I'm probably 70-30, 70 no, 30 yes. Look, is it crazy that maybe it was picked up on wiretap? Man, I'd love to kill that fucking Cicale. Possibly. I'm sure they don't talk glowingly about Dominic. Do I think there's a credible threat that Dominic should worry for his life? No. I mean, let's be real. How many people probably want Dom Cicale dead in multiple families? You don't think Vinny Basciano wants him dead? You don't think, and Dominic knows that, and he's not stupid. So, man, I would say there's always credible threats against his life, but are they going to happen? No. Rich, what's going on, Rich? How are you? Raul Farrow, $20. Thank you, Raul. You're very kind. You've been a good man here, man. I appreciate you. You've been showing a lot of love to us over the last couple of months. 570 people in here. Shout out to all of you watching. If you have comments or questions, you can also drop them in the chat. What do you think about this? Do you think this is a credible threat that Dominic needs to worry about? You need to have a sit down with Dominic. We did. We were the first person to interview Dominic way back. We interviewed him a long time ago. Tony G, what's going on? Joey, how you doing? Eric Foss, Dom said he robbed Hippie for a brick, then Dom ratted and Hippie's a scumbag. Doesn't add up. Yeah, he did say that. That's another thing Dominic discussed, that back in the day they were drug dealers. And they were moving weight. And listen, Dominic, here's the thing. And I heard the same thing. And this is where I get off the boat with Dom and all these guys. They elicit and call people scumbags, yet the stuff they're doing is real scumbaggy as well. Like Dominic, you stole from the guy, right? And be honest, I mean, you weren't around at that point, but I don't know. He was a decent predictor, let's just say. But yeah, I heard him say that. Bobby Gable, $2. Thank you, Bobby Gable. I appreciate it. What's up, D. Gainey? How you doing? The feds definitely warn people if they pick up information. Exactly. And that's what I'd really like to know here. I would really like to know if he was given a credible threat from LE. Do I think he was? I'll tell you this. I haven't heard anything. And I've been pretty good at breaking information over the years. I haven't heard anything. Doesn't mean it's not true, though. I'm sure they would tell Dominic, and maybe they told him, hey, you need to keep this quiet. That said, why go on YouTube and kind of tease it? Dominic does that a lot, I will say. Dom, you do that a lot. You tease that you're going to tell us stuff, and then you don't ever tell us. Fucking Hippie gets brought up in a lot of stories. Well, when it comes to Dominic, for sure. Raul Farrow, another $9.99. Appreciate you, bro. You're a good man. I'm glad you like our content. I'm glad you found us. Dom is dealing with a lot right now. Yeah, he's got some things he's dealing with. Yes, it does. I mean, it's one of the earliest mob crews ever. I mean, you look at the Mafia. The Mafia, the first kind of crime family we ever saw in the country was in the 1860s. Way back in 1860, the Matranga crime family from New Orleans. And then we start seeing it pop up in New York, towards the end of the 19th century. I mean, that's a long time this crew's been around, 116th Street Crew. Arguably the longest running, strongest running crew in the history of the mob. Quite interesting. And now it's under the control of according to Dominic Cicale, a person who likes white powder. DL says Ernie isn't letting Dom get hit. Why? What do you mean by that? Well, listen, again, I don't think anybody's getting hit. But I'm not sure Ernie has many good things to say about Dom. Carmela says they were friends is a stretch. Was it? How would you know, first of all? Number two, I mean, I don't know. I'll take his word for it. I mean, I'm sure, I mean, he even said they were close at one point. But see, again, this just goes to show, like, no, like, Carmela, how would you know? Like, no offense. Like, they were friends. They weren't. So they weren't friends in the 90s. They weren't, moving weight together. They weren't, going out together. All right. Well, let's just say we'll believe him over you. No offense. I mean, listen, Frank, let me ask you, Frank. Frank Fiorellino's here. Frank, let me ask you, do you think there's people out there that want you dead? Of course there are. I'm sure there are people that want to see me dead. Tom Sirik, $2. Thank you, Tom Sirik. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, bro. What's up, TPB? Lefty says Frank Cali was killed by Nunzio's real-life friend. I'm being serious. Who's Nunzio? Oh, Nunzio, you mean that guy that used to come on here? Like BK's friend or whatever? The guy that always showed up with guns on camera? Wait, so you're telling me, Lefty, he really knew Camelo? I never knew that. Whatever happened to that guy? He disappeared. Ali Shabar, my man, $40 Canadian. Thank you, Ali Shabar. Always a very giving individual as well. Thank you, bro. Appreciate your support, man. Will Moss says Bernstein reported that the Bonanno shot up Joe Camarano's house last year, though, which could have been an attempted hit if it's true. Yeah, but remember, no one else reported that. I hadn't seen that reported anywhere else. From what I understand, he also didn't live there either. Ernie handed Cicale over the bounds. Yeah, Carmelo, we know all this. I don't know. I guess you're trying to like teach us something. I'm not really sure. And I think you have a bone to pick with Dom. So listen, Carmelo, you seem to be like a shit star. So we're gonna get rid of you. You obviously have an agenda with Dominic, so we're not gonna deal with you. Michael Hensley, how are you? Nice to see you, man. I never knew Dom's lawsuit was against Stacks. Interesting. Yeah, they had a lawsuit against Stacks. There's another one though now as well, between other people. What's up? That's facts. What's going on? If anybody would like to support our channel further, we'd greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button. It's always welcomed. Also, please hit that super chat icon if you'd like to donate to what we're doing here. Sweet Science. What's going on, Sweet Science? Yeah, but what does that have to do with the Mafia? We are aware that street gangs like to hurt people, for sure. We're not talking about them. Yeah, I pretty much, I bet I would believe it. Trust me. I think he's making it up. No one in the know is telling him. Yeah, it's possible. It's surely possible. I'd love to hear, where this is coming from. And that would tell me all I need to know. If it's something that Dominic just heard, then I probably wouldn't believe it. If he told me that the FBI came to his home and told him this, then obviously he's got to take proper precautions. But yeah, I'd love to know more. Craig Tracy, $10 Canadian. Thank you, Craig Tracy. Appreciate your support, my friend. If anybody has any other comments or questions on what's going on, I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Any questions that you might have. There's always something going on in this world, isn't it? By the way, John Jr. I want to talk about John Jr. for a second. I have it on good authority that that podcast release is imminent. Next week, I've heard. That's what someone is telling me that would know. And I know some other people have heard this as well. there's an interview coming out. I don't know if this is going to be a weekly thing. I don't know if this is a podcast or just an interview. From what I understand, as it's been confirmed by their family, he's sitting down with Burner, who is a rapper. Listen, I guess John Jr. is trying to do damage control here because he's obviously been the point of contention with a lot of people recently, most notably Skinny Joey Merlino. We've talked about John Jr. for a long time on this channel. Other creators have talked about him. Listen, I'll be interested in hearing from John because I think hearing him speak is quite interesting. I've always thought he was a pretty interesting guy. I think he's a lot smarter than people think he is. And I actually, like, the interview he did with 60 Minutes is extremely well done. I would love to hear from him. That said, if it turns into like a Gotti love fest, that's where it would be just cringy to me. There's nothing John Jr. can say to rectify his position. He's a cooperator. We all know it. There's no more that needs to be said about it. We don't need to go down this road again. But I'll be interested in hearing how he goes with it, because if we remember in the interview he did with Frank Morano, he discusses it, that it was, it was a bad decision. It was a weak moment, as he said. And no matter how you slice it, no matter what lawyers tell you, no matter anyone saying, well, he didn't put anyone in jail, all that crap, it doesn't matter. He sat down with the police as a sitting member of the Mafia. It's strictly prohibited. And to be fair, if we look at what Joey Merlino is doing, you're speaking to the media, speaking about the mob, speaking about your time in the life. That is also the same. It's a spade to spade. This would never be accepted in the 70s. This would never be accepted, whether it's John Jr. or it's Joey Merlino. That's just the truth. And I know that will hurt a lot of people's feelings, but that's just the truth. But when it comes to John Jr., I'm going to be interested in seeing, is this podcast going to be is it going to be similar to like Joey's show, where like they don't really talk much about the life, they just talk about, stuff going on currently? That would suck if it was. Listen, here's the thing about John Jr. If John Jr. is sitting there telling us everything from the history of his life inside the mob, which he should, he's not in it anymore. That's what I don't understand about John Jr. John Jr. says, I left the life. Agreed. Good for you. Yet we just saw him like 2 weeks ago talking about, we don't accept pleas in this family. You're not in the mob anymore, John. And it's like, I hope he doesn't take the tact of, I don't want to talk about, listen, do I think he's going to go out there and talk about active people? No. But like, John, your dad's gone, right? I think it's okay to talk about him now. But I think if I know them the way I do, I don't think he's going to. I just don't. I think it's going to be, like, he'll also be like one of these people that says, I'm not going to give them an attention, even though he's coming on YouTube to give the attention. We hear that a lot on here. I don't want to give them ratings or views, even though you came on here to do it. So it'll be interesting to see what this interview is. Is it a long-term thing? Is it a one-time thing? Look, here's the truth. If it was, I don't know, once a week, like a podcast, like any other podcast, they would do really well. But again, it all comes down to what the content is. Because again, I like Joey Merlino, but the truth of the matter is, we want to hear him talking about mob stuff. We don't care what he thinks about the Oilers and the Panthers, right? It's cool for a few minutes, but like, we want to hear him talk about, Leonetti or, John Rubio or Salvi Testa or whoever, right? So it's going to be really interesting. There could be a whole couple of ways this show could go for that cohort, John Jr. and Burner. Burner, again, I don't know much about him. I know he's a rapper. I know he's super well. He did really well with the legalized weed business. And again, he is close to John Jr. They're cool. By the way, I was sent a very interesting photo today. Let's just say it included multiple members of the Gotti family currently. And I got to say, it almost seems like certain people are going right back to where they were. I got to get a little bit more info on this photo, but we'll see. OC, what's going on, OC? What do you guys think about John Jr.'s podcast? What would you like to see him do? But and what will you think he ultimately will do? Kenny M says Mikey Scars is the only credible informant on here. While I agree that he's credible, I don't think he's the only credible. And I think there are credible and contrite people on here. I think Howie's contrite. I think Frank Fiorlino's contrite. Billy Catolo's never, told me he wasn't contrite. Or he didn't tell me. He never came across that he wasn't. I think there are guys on here that I generally enjoy talking to. Lavaglio, he struck me as very contrite. Now, there are some that I don't find contrite, but that's just really my opinion. 690 people in here. Shout out to you for watching. I'm way behind in the chat, guys. I will get to all of you, and I really appreciate you being here. See No Evil says, I don't think he's got anything to worry about. He's already put it on blast and has his lawyer on the case and said he's going to call the police if he's approached. Yeah, but see, bro, the thing is, and this is just the truth about the American way. If someone comes to kill you, you're kind of on your own. The police ain't going to be there. It's not like he's in the program or anything. But I hear you. I don't think it's much. I mean, Damas, like everyone on here, says some wild stuff over the years. I don't think it recently just kind of came to a roost that, someone wants him gone. And again, this is all just what he says. I have no idea, And listen, Dom, here's what I will say. If you're making this up, I mean, that's as low as you can go, dude. Seriously. And that's just the opinion. If you're making this up and this is found out, which again, I don't know how it would be really low for you to do that. Like, I get you may not like these guys, but if you're making this up, which I'm not saying you are, that would be low. But I don't think you're doing that. I don't think Dom's doing that. Dan says, hope you're having a good night. What's up, Dan? Thanks for watching, bro. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Listen, I don't think we're going to hear much out of this, to be fair. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens next. Thank you, bro. That's nice of you. Thank you for watching. All right. What else do we have going on here today? All right. I did invite him. I haven't seen him. Ali Shabar, a lot of Canadian donations tonight. $10. Let's buy Jeff breakfast tomorrow. Let's show our appreciation. Thank you, Ali Shabar. You're a very giving guy. I thank you so much. And you heard him. You heard him, folks. You heard him. What's up, M. Coop? A good point. Good, well said. There's a lot of guys you got to take care of if you're going to take one of them out. How many of them are on here even, and how many we have not even heard of? Baby girl, how are you? Nice to see you, love. Hope you're well. Garrett Johnson, did Dominic ever finish a story about supposedly rubbing out Michael the Nose? Well, Michael the Nose is still around, so yeah, I don't think that ever happened. I don't know everything, but I try to know a good amount. Yes, we know that. He went under the Bonanno flag. Well, of course he does. I don't think there's any way anyone could say he's different. He's absolutely true to the life. Have I ever tried EG vodka? No, I don't like vodka. I'm not a vodka guy. I like tequila. Now, if it was EG tequila, I would definitely have tried it for sure. And Big Blue, listen, do me a favor. Don't come in here and assess that people are drug addicts. Please don't do that, Big Blue. Listen, I get maybe you don't like him, but don't come in and do that. It's not right. And even if he was, how is that relevant now? He seems to be doing okay, Yeah, I think there's some people that are just so hateful here. They say, listen, there are guys on here that I don't like, but I would never go as far to call them like a drug addict or something. I've made that mistake in my career, and it's not right. Settle down, Lefty. Liberty, what's going on, Liberty? Have ever tried to get an interview with John Veazey? I did. I had a connection to John Veazey, but we never were able to make it happen. I had a guy though that knew him though. Yeah, exactly, Ryan. I mean, how would this even work? It's got to either be the FBI visited him or he heard it third or fourth hand, right? Someone said, "Oh, like how would it even work?" Like, here's what I don't get about this whole thing. The Mafia doesn't like say, "Oh, we're gonna get rid of you." Like, they're just doing it. Like, this is why I wonder about this story. I really do, and that makes me want to say maybe he got it from the FBI. But I don't know. I need to know more. What's up, Michael Blade? How's it going? What's up, Sharetti? No, I don't watch Narcos. I don't know. It comes across to me to be a bit fake. Redeem Walker, I think anytime there's a contract, you have to take it seriously, especially if a guy's been proven to shoot before. There's always going to have a target on his back because of the route he took. Yeah, but everyone then, wouldn't they? I mean, again, I need to know more about the threat. I need to know. I'm curious about who he heard it from. I've already done a show on the Rizzuto crime family. We did that a while ago. All right. Wow. I mean, how much more can we say about the Angelo Bruno slang? I mean, I feel like we've heard some of these stories we've heard so many times. I mean, what more do we want to know about the Angelo Bruno hit? I mean, it's he was coming home from dinner. John Stanfa was driving. I actually talked about it at length in the show I did on John Stanfa. I talked about the role that I believe that either John Stanfa played or didn't play in it. Again, there are just so many stories that I think in this genre we've heard so many times. Like, how many times do we have to hear about Angelo Bruno? It was a power play. Caponegro was manipulated by the Genovese crime family. I don't know. I feel like we've heard it. What more do you want to know? I've done shows on Angelo Bruno and John Stanfa. If you want to take a look at them, they're both on my channel. And the Angelo Bruno show is one of the more complex about Philadelphia you'll find. See you later, William Brooklyn. William Brooklyn, how many accounts do you have, dude? Like, Christ, it's unbelievable. I mean, do you have any life whatsoever? You and Fish, like, it's insane. I saw Fish is in another chat called with a name called Count Dracula. I heard him. He had his name Clarence Thomas as well at one point. Like, some of these guys, they create hundreds of accounts. JT Mana, $5. Thank you, JT Mana. Thank you for the contribution, man. I appreciate you being here. I used to listen to Burner. Yeah, I haven't never heard him, but I know he's a pretty big time guy. I can't wait to hear the riveting questions dude is going to ask Junior. Yeah, listen, here's the thing. Working with Burner, it's going to be popular for him. What the hell does he know about the mob, though? I think that's where sometimes these guys make some major mistakes. And listen, what do we know? Burner will, he'll kiss his ass. I mean, listen, you don't get anywhere with the Gottis unless you kiss their ass. That's just how they are. I mean, we all know that. Be honest. If you talk bad about them, they hate you. That's just the truth. That's why some of the people on here are so whipped. They do what they're told. They don't push back. Literally, they don't push back. As much as they say we push back, they don't push shit back. They listen and do what they're told. Some of the people on here, and we know who they are. Lee Cole, James Proctor. They all do what they're told. Angel tells them to run. They say how fast. And that's just the truth. We all know that. That's no secret to anybody here. They're bought and paid for. We all know that. Is Louis Casman still angry? He should come back. I haven't heard from him. He gave us a great interview, though. I know that. Nagone, what's going on, Nagone? How are you? BM says, hey, Jeff, was Sammy the Bull Gravano gay? There's talk of him and Jack and Nick Sciabetta. Well, look, that's always been the rumor. There was a book that came out written by people connected to the Garafalos that claimed that it was common knowledge that Sammy the Bull Gravano was openly bisexual in Brooklyn. Listen, there's no, as they say in The Sopranos, what are we two-tones? We have to actually see him, take it in the, you know what? No, I don't know for a fact that he is. No, he says a lot of stuff that comes across as gay, I guess, but like, no, I don't know for a fact that he is. I've heard rumors, but there's a lot of things we hear as far as rumors in this genre. So do I think he is? I don't think he's gay. I think he's probably, has he had some experiences? Maybe. And look, I know a lot of people believe that the person, Jack, that was killed had to do with something about being homosexual. I don't know. Nick Sciabetta as well. He wouldn't talk about Nick Sciabetta when I interviewed him. And from what I understand, he still doesn't talk about Nick Sciabetta. Raul Farrow, $20. Wow. Raul's a generous guy. Any chance they'll give Raimondi the hit? What do you think? I don't think. I think he'll have to sit this one out. Thank you, Raul Farrow. Jeff, do you think John Jr. at this point should deny his cooperation or downplay his cooperation as he starts his podcast career? What do I think he'll do? I don't know. I think he'll try to downplay it. He'll try to push that stupid stuff that was like a legal maneuver. We've heard that before, right? But we've also heard him take responsibility. I don't think he's as delusional as other people in the family. I think he's a guy who lived his life, did what he did. And, I don't know. If I have to guess, though, I don't think he's going to like come out and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm a rat. He ain't going to do that. No. And listen, we know that like the Gotti family, they like to be in control of things. They like to push the narrative they want. Look at the Gotti film that came out, the one in 2018. It was shit because they made it shit. Look at the one in 96. They weren't involved with it at all. And it was brilliant, so I hate to talk this way, but this is how they are. We all know it. All right. A lot of people texting me here. I'm trying to do a show here. Eric Foss, I'm trying to do a show here. You're texting me up a storm. A lot of people text me up a storm. Okay, Howie Santos, I gotta get back to you on that. And I'm getting a text from a random phone number, so we'll go from there. All right. I'll get back to you, Eric Foss. I'm sorry. I've got so much going on right now. I'm trying to keep track of what's going on here. John Drew doesn't have immunity, so that could be a tricky one to talk about. True. Is this Jeff? Depends on who this is. Let me run it. I need to run a check on who's texting me right now. There's a phone number texting me. It keeps asking me if I'm Jeff. All right. Let me see who this is here. This is very interesting. I'm not going to put the phone number. I know where this is coming from, I think. I got a feeling I know who this is. No, nothing coming back. All right, we'll see. All right, let me go back to my comments here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Burner's the GOAT. Shout out to Burner. TPB, cookies. I don't know what that means. Hang on a second. Give me 1 second, guys. Fuck you hit me up for and then say, I don't get it. All right. And that is a good point. I guess we'll see what he can and can't talk about. I caught the video of Dom today. I feel like it confirms a lot of these informants still talk to active guys in the street. Yeah, that could be true as well. Jeff, I enjoyed your tour the other day, but where you grew up, good stuff. Not sure what you mean. What tour? I don't remember doing one. Was it possibly an older video? What do I think about Joey Cupcakes? Seems like an interesting guy to me. I did a video on him. Hey, what's up, Ruby? How are you? Justin Mason, what's going on, bro? Did Robert Kennedy send Marcello to Guatemala? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What's up, Xavier? What's going on? Sorry, guys. A lot of crazy comments in here. I live right outside of Philadelphia. Angelo Bruno's a classic, was a great guy from what I've heard from many people. Yep, we've heard that. But again, was a mob boss. So I get a text. Is this Jeff? I say, who's this? Is this Jeff? Depends on who this is. Okay. Like I don't understand why people contact me and then don't answer. Fucking weird. All right. What's up, Sal Crook? How are you? How's it going? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, from the video we did about the firebomb or the fire. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. Okay, the one I did with my dad as well. Yeah. How quickly time flies, you know? I think about that all the time, you know, as you get older. It's like, fuck, man, time flies. And before you know it, I'm about to be 35. I'm celebrating my birthday in like a month, you know? It's crazy how quick life goes. You know, I was looking at those old pictures, you know, when I was, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. It's like, fuck, man, you know? I was in the 90s. It's already 2024. I was talking to a Lyft driver the other night. There was a Lyft driver I was talking to from Pakistan. He was an interesting guy. And we were talking about, he was telling me that, when he came over in like the late 90s and stuff. And this guy texts me and goes, Jeff, if you're going to call this mob stuff, call it down the middle. You don't know anything about the streets. Just because you read books don't make you an expert. Who the fuck are you? What a weird person. I don't know who these people even are. Identify who you are. I think I know who this is. Bear with me a second, guys. Yeah. Says stuff and then won't answer when I call. Surprising. But yeah, so he's talking to me about like we were talking about how September 11th. It's already 25 years ago. It's pretty insane, isn't it? Time flies. You're still young. Yeah, I know. But as they tell me that, I keep getting older. Yeah, Isaac FDZ. I think I've told you about 4 or 5 times. I've had him on my show already. I even dropped the link of where you can find that. Hey, what's up, John? How are you? What's up, Laz? What else do we have going on tonight? What else do we have going on tonight? Listen, buddy, texting me. You want to just why don't you jump on the show right now? I don't know what you don't even, I don't know who you are. I'm just gonna block you here. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll just block you. See. All right. I think I know who that was. In fact, I know who it was. But I'm not gonna put his name out there, you know. No need for it. Jeff, great podcast as always. I have a question. I got a Goodfellas t-shirt, but De Niro isn't on it. I wonder if that is deliberate due to his recent controversy. Really? I'd love to see that t-shirt. I don't know why he'd be on it. By the way, do I look like I'm shaking? I'm not shaking at all. Come on, man. I don't even know who you are. I know who you are. You'd think I don't know who you are. What's up, John? Thank you. Yes, it's coming up. Thanks for watching, Will Moss. Appreciate you, brother. Have I tried contacting John Miller? I thought about it. Man, I would love to interview him. Super interesting guy. Just, I mean, he was around John Gotti all the time. It's pretty insane, right? Spent my childhood summers anytime in Wildwood as well. I'm from Trenton. Got to miss those Wildwood days. Yeah, that's right. You're right about that. You know, I'm gonna look up something here. Just give me 1 second. I'm very curious about something. Who the hell is that guy? I knew who that was. By the way, guy who texted me, why don't you just answer, man? It ain't even that serious. I know who you are. I've been asked to contact you before. I'll unblock you because I know who you are now. Yes, I know who this is. Guy who just texted me. Why don't you just come on? I mean, we can talk. I don't even know what you're if you're gonna call this. Listen, I'm not gonna say who this is. I know who it is now. All right. I mean, I guess you can have your opinion. I really don't care. By the way, I unblocked you so you can talk. Because you're talking weird, Amy. I mean, drop the link? No. I have no interest in fighting with that guy. And he challenges me to a fight. If he wants to have a conversation, we can have a conversation off the air. There's no reason to have it on the air. And I don't owe him an explanation. I don't work for him. I don't owe him anything. Lake Meadows, $20. Jeff, why don't you cover the current war? I have. I've done various videos on that. I've talked about it on TikTok at length as well. I've done many videos. I did a video on Greg Woolley. I've done videos on Vito Rizzuto. I've done videos on all sorts of stuff pertaining to Montreal. What's up, Pasta? Gigi, hello from Bogota, Colombia. Those American Mafia guys won't make it a week in Colombia. I don't know about that. But, yeah, Colombia is tough. Emmanuel Ibrahimov, always enjoy your show. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And everybody watching, thanks for checking out the show. If anybody likes to support us further, please feel free to hit that super chat icon. Listen, Damian Trites, I don't know what you're trying to prove by texting me all this shit. I don't get it. I guess you're upset because I talked about John Jr. Listen, I'm just calling it like I see it, brother. I'd love to hear him, though, and I'll be watching when it comes out. But I don't think he needs you to speak for him. So, not that I care what you think, but yeah, don't come. You're not coming on. You're right. And it's not me talking tough. Obviously, you're a pro fighter. We all know that. But I don't understand why you felt the need to text me out of nowhere. It's so odd. But you do this a lot. You you think you can bully people because of who you are. I have no beef with you. I have no beef with anybody. I just try to do my show. And you randomly texted me out of the middle of nowhere because I guess you're upset about something I said. So I don't remember even mentioning you at any point. Kind of odd. Yeah, it is great. That's probably one of the best Canadian mob books for sure. Do I know anything about Robert Pronge, the ice train dude who Iceman says helped him? I don't know much about him. I can't say I've ever really looked into it much past the Iceman, just because I don't know. The Iceman was a serial killer. He wasn't a he wasn't a mobster, you know. When Philly proposed someone, did they have to pass it around like New York? Doesn't seem like a guy like Pravity would have been okayed. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I'm not sure, you know, how that situation is. I've never been involved in it, so I'm not sure. Just saw you're live. I'm gonna have to watch it from the beginning. Sounds like another good one. Yeah, it was an interesting one. You know, interesting news coming out about Dom. Bernie Carrick would be a great interview. Well, Bernie is a convicted felon, but I don't disagree. It would be an interesting interview for sure. Listen, guys, do me a favor. Don't talk negatively about Damien. I have no issue with the guy. You know, he's I guess upset with me for some reason. Can't make everybody happy, but you know, we don't need to. You know, folks don't need to talk about him. New England's the most confusing crime family. I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. I've never felt like any were particularly boring. You know, I think all cities are interesting, especially if you live there. You know. Yeah, listen, Damien, I'm not going to read your you know, I get you're upset. I don't. I just call it like I see it, man. You know, it really doesn't matter what I think at the end of the day. Um, you know, I get that your boy. You know, that's all right. I don't know what your beef is with me. I'm just a you know content creator. That's it. You know, I don't know why you think my opinion means so much. It really doesn't. I mean, I'll read if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. And you know what I've noticed is when people don't agree with you, it always goes to what do you know about the life? And it's like, yeah, nothing. Just a historian, man. Just offer my opinion. And I guess we're doing something right because we have 75,000 subscribers. I guess he wasn't happy with what I said about John Jr. I'm not really sure. Um, you know, I had heard he wanted to speak to me recently. I don't have anything to say to him. You know, I get he's upset. Listen, this is a subject that can be tough to talk about, obviously. But you know, I don't work for anybody, so it's none of my business what John Jr. It's his business. I'm sure he just you know enjoys his family. That's what I'm gonna guess. Break out the tongue scraper. They might want to sponsor your channel. I wish they would. By the way, if you use a tongue scraper, put a 1 in the chat. I want to see if anybody else uses one other than me. Put a 1 in the chat if you use a tongue scraper. Number 1. Don't ask what it means. Just do you use one? Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, Buke uses one. Beautiful. Rich M uses one. Good, good, good. John, good. Larry, 1, good. Okay. Damien, we're good to go, bro. Listen, and you can voice your opinion. You know, just tell me who you are. You know, you're like being very cryptic. Listen, I have my opinion. You have yours. But to be honest, in the end, my opinion is just my opinion. That's all. Wow, so many people use tongue scraper. I love this. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I've gotten all of you to. Not that I got you to do it, but I'm so happy that everybody uses one here. Beautiful. A tongue scraper. You never used one, Pasta? You should get one. You should get one. Is there someone in here that's saying stupid stuff? I didn't see anybody. I didn't see who you were talking about. See. All right. Listen, Troy. See it, Troy. Take it easy. He was like saying weird shit about Joey Cupcake and stuff. It's like, yeah, bro. Wow. I'll use a blow dryer on your good to hear it. yeah. Twice a day. I don't do it twice a day. I do it once a day. But I'm just happy to hear you do it. What's up, Dylan Steiner? How you doing, bro? How you doing? By the way, if anybody would like to support our channel further, please hit that like button. Please share this show with anyone you think that might enjoy it. And if you want to give to our channel, hit that super chat icon right now. Little $sign at the bottom of the show. Did I ever watch the show Dexter? No, I've never watched Dexter. I've never watched it. Don't do that. Don't do that. What's up, C? How you doing, buddy? Is that our friend Kalojiro? What's going on? Still good over 600 strong in here. Shout out to all of you. Appreciate you. Thank you for checking out the show, the Sit Down. We got a brand new episode out tomorrow. It is our yearly show where we will delve into what does the Mafia look like in 2024. What families are defunct? What families are still around? What families are strong and have some sort of standing? We're going to talk about it all. And before you ask, no, we will not be talking about Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Denver. They're not active nowadays. We're going to just talk about the families that I believe are active. Kansas City will not make the draw. They're not active either. Jeff, who's your pick to win the Euros? France is my pick. France. I already bet them. Michelle Martinez, how are you, love? Nice to see you. I hope you're well. I know you've been in and out of the chat. Thanks for being here. All right. One other thing about what Damien was saying. Damien, you do know that the only thing that I will say here is it doesn't matter what was said, who he told on, or whatever. I agree with you that he didn't sit there on the stand and testify. I agree with you. That said, he was a sitting member of the mob and he talked to the police. That is a blatant violation of the Code of Omerta. That's what I'm saying. And, you know, I think in the end, like that's what I'm talking about here, you know, and that's what I think people don't seem to understand. You know, I think we've moved the goalpost. And listen, I think there are a lot of people that if his last name was something else, they would call him, you know. And I would ask, you know, what would his father think of it? You know? But, you know, again, you know, everybody has their opinions. And you're right. There is a lot of treachery in the life. You're 100% right. But I think, you know, we can have a conversation without you saying that I don't know nothing about the streets. You're right. I don't know anything about the Mafia streets, but I'll tell you what, we've done a damn good job of building this channel, and we don't need to know anything about the streets. What we do is we get the people on to do. And I'll tell you this, I know more about the streets than you think. You know, I think there's this thought, and listen, I've never said anything different. I wasn't out there busting guns. I don't do nothing like that. But I think it's important to educate yourself on different cultures and different lives. So I don't think that precludes me from talking about this. And listen, I mean, like I said, I think we've done a pretty good job nonetheless of doing that, regardless of whether we've been in the streets or not. All right, I'm going to Philly next month. Any recommendations on the best Philly cheesesteak? Argan Steaks. 10th and Argan. All right. Who is stronger, Gene or Damien? I'll go Damien. I think Damien would fuck Gene up. And I have no issue with Gene. Damien Kreitz was a MMA fighter. You know, you don't become an MMA fighter by chance. You know, you become an MMA fighter because, you know, you can fight. That said, you know, in a street fight, it could be different. You know, I'm not sure that I'll say just because I don't know. I don't fight, so I wouldn't know. But I would probably say Damien would win. Isaac FDZ says, Jeff, Miles Sambat, his nephew, got killed in Coyoacán this weekend. Did you hear about it? Yes, I did a short on it. It happened last week, Thursday, I believe. Cheo anthrax. Yes, it's a big thing. Sinaloa cartel warned that no one better be sharing photos of it in Sinaloa. But yeah, they caught him on the highway in his truck. Raul Ferro, I understand when you're in the life, you're not supposed to be in the media or nothing like that, but he's just exposing rats, talking sports, and he didn't even acknowledge the mob in the Vlad TV interview. Yeah, but again, I mean, I think people will look back to the way that life used to be. So yeah, again, I think you're kind of missing the point. Thank you for the $20, though, my man. I get what you're saying, but I'll tell you this. The guys in the 70s and 80s, they would look at it a certain way. No, they don't. There is no new rules. What do you think? The Mafia changes their rules every 10 years so they can adhere to social media protocols? Doesn't work like that. Exactly. Appreciate that, Michelle. That's really nice of you. Thank you. That's very kind. Coming from you, that means a lot. Thanks for your kind words. Appreciate you. You're doing your own great thing. So shout out to you. Well, he's not on, but I'm sure he's watching. Damien, Eric Foss says, what would happen to John Jr. if he went to the penitentiary? I didn't ask. You know, I don't know. I don't know what Damien's screen name is. I wish he would just come in the chat. I don't really. I don't know, but 100%. Listen, as far as a father and a human being, John Jr. did the right thing. I don't care if people rat. I don't. In fact, if you can have a life, do it. I couldn't give a shit. I'm not in that life. John Jr. is the best father probably in history of the Mafia. No one will disagree with that. You know, he did what he had to do. But we also have to remember what he did. What's up, James? Thank you for watching, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you think Senior had to go to Paul for the Favara thing? No. Favara wasn't a made guy. Jeff, are there drug cartels in the U.S.? Man, they are so dangerous. They have no morals. They'll kill kids and women to get what they want. Yes, they don't have ethics. Are they on U.S. territory? Yeah. I mean, all street gangs are run by drug cartels. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I thank you all for being here tonight. I thank everybody for their candor, their participation, their questions, their comments, the super chats, everybody jumping in. I appreciate it. These are always fascinating lives. Like I said, another new video coming out tomorrow. That'll be out later in the day. So I appreciate you all checking that out. I hope you enjoy it. Well, Damon, he did go to prison, but he didn't go to a penitentiary. He was in Raybrook, and that was before his cooperation agreement. I think he's saying if he went to prison now, like a penitentiary, if he went to McCreary or Lee or one of those places, I think that's more what he's saying. Can you imagine John Sr. watching an episode of Growing Up Gotti? No, I actually cannot. I cannot imagine that. I don't think it would have happened. John Sr. was gone by that point. He fought 5 trials. Yes, we know that. Absolutely. But again, Damon, that has nothing to do with the fact that he put people's names into a 5-page document and gave it to the feds and told them about it. That's all we're saying here. But listen, everybody has their opinions. I feel like we've talked about this ad nauseum. We'll be interested in hearing what John Jr. has to say. Here's one thing we do know. Everybody's going to watch it. So that's good. Rami says free El Chapo. Why the fuck would we want to free him? What? Rami, please. You seem like an all right guy. Don't say stuff like this. Please. Free him for what? He's a convicted felon and a major drug trafficker. He is responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths. Odd thing to say, Rami. Odd thing to say. Same to you. Thank you, See No Evil. Appreciate you, brother. All right, guys. I'm out. Guys and girls, I'll see you all later. Have a great evening. Jocelyn Mejia. Thank you, Jocelyn. Is that my friend Jocelyn? I think it is. Shout out to you, love. I hope you're all well. Thank you for watching my channel. It means a lot to me. We're about to leave, but wow, I'm so glad you came in and subscribed. That means a lot to me. Jocelyn's good people. I know her from my area. Or as the Arolata would say, my area. So that's cool. That's nice to see you here. Shout out to all the Mexicanos and Mexicanas in the building tonight. Victor Colon says, yes, free El Chapo till he kidnaps your sister. Right. Weird thing to say, Rami. Weird thing to say. Free El Chapo, he says. From what? What are we freeing him from? I'll text you, Jocelyn. All right. Wow, William Brooklyn. Is this guy serious? William Brooklyn, how many accounts do you have, dude? This guy doesn't quit, man. Insane. Bye-bye. You believe this guy, Lefty? Uria. Yes. My uria. What's up, Mickey Griggs? I was going to sign off, but like we have so many commenters. I don't know if I want to. Is who a teenager? William Brooklyn? I don't believe it is. He's like 30. He's a drunk. I don't think he wins anyone over. Shout out to the 413. What's up, Whitey? All right, Jem. Lefty, don't pay any attention. That kid is so desperate to be acknowledged. Him and Fish are very desperate. I mean, I see Fish. And you know, Fish, you know, everyone always knows who you are because you say the same shit in every chat. You call people Tradrules, and we know right away it's you. Who has more accounts, Fish or William Brooklyn? I'm going to go with William Brooklyn. I think he has probably like 100 accounts. Well, he does drink a lot. He does drink a lot. Thank you, Constantino. That's really very nice of you, my Greek friend. Thank you. What's up, Victor Colon? Another person from the 413. All right, I'm out. See you guys later. Bye-bye.